Hello, and welcome again to another episode of the Black Techies podcast presented by HBCU Digital. I'm your host, Herbert Seward. I am joined this week by my boy Dominique Bass. Excuse me. Testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Dom? I can hear you.
All right.
Okay. Now that that's taken care of. Sorry, audience. Again, welcome to another episode of the Black Techies podcast presented by HBCU Digital. I am your host, Herbert Seward, and I am joined by my boy Dominique Bass, aka Blackity Black Man, as you can see on his description. We will be joined a little bit later, hopefully by our third member in our this week's rotation, Mr. Roberto Joseph, but we're going to go ahead and get started. This has been a pretty big week in terms of news, all sorts of news. And we got a lot of things on our agenda tonight, or rather, this evening. We're going to be talking about Sony PlayStation State of Play. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that came through with that. We're also going to be talking about a little bit later in the show some of the more serious current events that have been going on in this country in the past 10 or 15 15-day period that that has been kind of dominating the news. So but I want to start with some news that that kind of went under the radar for the last couple weeks since our last podcast, but it's pretty big stuff, and that's Broadcom buying Vmware. Broadcom bought Vmware a couple of weeks ago, and if anybody that's IT professional that's worked in the industry that is familiar with what VMware is and represents, that's some pretty big stuff. Anybody that's done tech support, that's done any sort of development or any sort of network infrastructure or anything supporting that infrastructure has worked with VMware. They're $60 billion company, and Broadcom scooped them up. So it's something that we haven't heard a lot about it, and it kind of went under the radar. But that's pretty big. That's some big stuff.
I'm embarrassed because you said that and I said ain't no way. And then I Googled it and yes way. So
Yeah,
I
way.
work for Dell presently. And I don't know if you are familiar with this, but Dell actually bought VMware, one of the largest tech purchases of all time, for like $65 billion, and that was like 7 years ago.
Yep.
But this year, VMware and Dell spun off of each other. So VMware, I guess Dell gave VMware their independence, and less than a year later, Broadcom was like, "Mine, I'll take it, thank you." So that's an interesting. That is an interesting thing for the industry because Broadcom typically is not in. Broadcom, as far as I know, their claim to fame is networking, right? They make network interface cards. Uh, that's like the thing that I know them for, right? As somebody who sells servers, I build servers for a living, and so Broadcom has typically been like just that's what they do. And now to see that they're paired up with the absolute monstrous lead, they have a monstrous lead in the virtualization game. There's nobody that does it better. And so VMware is it's pricey, but it's the best and it's not even close. And so, I'm curious to see what Broadcom is able to bring here as far as value. I'm curious to see what Broadcom is able to do with this huge, very profitable piece of IP.
Yeah. Real quick, I thought that was Chuck D that signed in for a minute, but it turns out that it's our boy Roberto. Welcome to the podcast, bro. We're all seemingly running like mad late today. So for our audience, we apologize. Dom was on time. Thank you, Dom. I appreciate that.
Never ever happens. So
right.
Never.
Despite stereotyping his name, he was on time.
Black. But yeah, we were just talking about the purchase of Broadcom, the purchase of VMware rather by Broadcom.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that's done any sort of IT work, that's done any sort of virtualization, you know who VMware is. If you work with vSphere or any number of their products,
vSAN, vCenter, vRealize.
Yeah,
all that.
I mean, you've had it smack you around, on numerous occasions. The purchase of it is pretty big, and it's something that, in lieu of all the other flashy, tech, news that normally kind of goes and comes, this kind of went under the radar. And like I said earlier, so that's a $60 billion proposition for Broadcom. First, I ain't know Broadcom had scratch like that to be, just slapping out $60 billion purchases.
Well, apparently they do.
Yeah. So, but now that we've kind of, addressed that bit of tech news, I want to get to Sony State of Play, PlayStation State of Play. I got some thoughts about one specific game, but I'm gonna let you guys go.
Well, I'm glad Roberto hopped on because I wasn't finna be much help. I'm not a.
Yeah,
I'll go first.
Yeah, we know Mr. Xbox over there.
I mean, I really more play. I ain't cut an Xbox on in almost 2 years now. I'm a PC guy. Like I play Xbox games on PC, but I guess technically I play PlayStation games on PC now too. Since y'all told me a few pods
more
ago,
of them are coming.
Yeah, well, since y'all told me a few pods ago that you could do PlayStation Now on the PC, I didn't even know. So I was like, let me go ahead and hop on this. I don't know. I don't get the appeal. Like I started playing God of War 3 and like the not God of War 3. I think it was 2. Whichever one it was. The controls are so bad. I like it's just hard to get used to PlayStation. And but it's what y'all think is best, so you make it best, right? Once you assume that it's the best, then everything just meets that expectation. But as me playing it just completely unbiased, it was trash. But yeah, so
I mean that's like trying to play anything with like a keyboard and mouse, and like if you're not used to it, you're gonna be like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Like why would you? Or trying to play anything with these things, like this is the most natural thing in the world for you to think.
These are not precise, man. And there's a game I'm playing called The Way on the Switch, and it requires precision for puzzles. And I'm just like, I spend so much time just like trying to hold my thumb in the exact position before I tap this trigger. It's crazy. But to talk about the Sony State of Play, I think the Street Fighter 6 trailer was fire. The Spider, that's not an exclusive to PlayStation, so
Spider-Man is fire, period.
Spider-Man,
but like I'm glad that it's coming to PC. Unlike other Sony fanboys, like I'm glad when other people get to play stuff because I'm like, this was dope. Like I don't know why. And then when you play it, you're gonna be like, damn, this is what I was missing. Yes, this is what you've been missing for whatever reason that you didn't want to play it.
Because I just don't want to spend $400 to play 4 single-player games. That's it. If I bought a PlayStation, it'd be to play God of War, Spider-Man, what was it? I think Heavy Rain back in the day. Horizon, but Horizon's on PC now already.
Yeah,
Horizon's already moved to PC. But back in the day, it would have been like Final Fantasy. But like everything that matters is kind of multi-console now, or at least on PC. But I'm over the war.
That's what it boils down to. Yeah, the war boils down to which game will make you buy this one instead of that one. And I think we've discussed this 100,000 times. Xbox has not done that for me in a long time. Like I honestly can't tell you Like I have a 360, I have a regular Xbox, I had the Xbox.
If Halo don't do it for you and Gears of War don't do it for you, I don't think it's not gonna do. I mean, maybe if you're like really into cars, Forza, but like
I love cars, and like there's Gran Turismo and Forza are polar opposites.
They're very, they're very similar. Like their quality is very.
The quality is the same, but the gameplay is completely different. It's like comparing, like a sim to like trying to say like, okay, well,
is Gran Turismo
King of the
arcade?
Fighters. Say what?
Is Gran Turismo an arcade driver?
No,
it's a complete sim. Like you got to change your tires. You got to do your gear ratios. It's a lot less forgiving than Forza is. Like I've played Forza, and Forza is much more forgiving. It's like think Splinter Cell and Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
Very different. Like Splinter Cell, like you alert that one guy that mission's over. They don't give you the opportunity to like do anything. Metal Gear Solid, you alert 100 guys.
Go jump in the bush.
It will let you try to fight all 100 people before you get murdered, and then they're like, "Well, try it again."
Yeah.
It's that kind of level of difference. But I think State of Play was what was it, and Dom, you're not finished. I'll let you finish.
Oh yeah, so there's a few games that if I had a PlayStation already, there's a few games that I would like to play. The Callisto Protocol looks pretty cool. I
thought it was Dead Space.
Yeah,
for real.
Very Dead Space vibes. I'm not like Resident Evils. I'm just too much of a punk. Honestly, I can't play scary games anymore. My heart can't take it.
Callisto Protocol looks very scary though.
Yes, which also I never finished the Dead Space. I start playing it, right? But I get so immersed in the game, I end up doing what I would do in real life, which is go in a room that you're sure there has no bad guys in it and just stay in that room. Like it's so hard for me to open the door.
Over.
It's so hard for me to open the door, man. Every time I walk and I hear like a chittering on pipes or something, I look up, I don't see nothing. I'm done. I'm cutting the game off.
Like you good?
Yeah.
I will say real quick, my friends and I used to, like my friends that when I used to work at Batteries Plus, we used to get together after work and we would go to one person's house, usually Duran's house. What up, Duran, if you're watching? We'd go to one person's house and we would get beers and pizza and we would drink and we would pass the controller around. We'd play Dead Space and you could see who could stay alive the longest. And I don't know if there was any, like, I don't even remember if there was like, oh, well, you stayed alive the longest, so you don't got to pay for the pizza. But it was the most fun thing because we would, of course, you'd be sitting there playing. You like, okay, I got it. I mean, it's a little baby. It's a demon. And you're dead. And you just like, all right, bro, like, I'm just going to go have a beer and eat some pepperoni because I can't. All right, bro, do you want your turn? I'm like, I'm drunk. I don't need it.
But yeah, that's it for me. I mean, I'm not a PlayStation guy, full disclosure. So the games that the PlayStation, like the fact that Spider-Man's coming to the PC, yes, and there's a couple of games that nothing that would say I have to go buy a PlayStation for it, but everything that I want to play seems to also be coming to PC. So
yeah, I feel you, man. I'm as far as I'm concerned, the two things that got me during that state of play was Street Fighter 6 and Final Fantasy 16. Spider-Man looked great, but just about every Spider-Man game that comes out these days looks great. So it's kind of hard for me to quantify how that translates to this latest edition until it comes out. But that Street Fighter, I mean, as a fighting game enthusiast myself, that Street Fighter game looked just ridiculously fluid, all sorts of stuff, man. And it was a good look. It was a good look. Some of the other things, though, I was like, I mean, I was just like, okay, well, yeah. So I mean, I just felt like filler to me. But
I'm so glad I'm on this episode because I can already, like, both of y'all are like, this isn't the thing that I play, and I'm not really familiar with it, so I'm not effing with it. And like the Stray game looks crazy, because again, this is one of the things I remember seeing Flower at E3 back when E3 used to be televised and stuff, and G4 used to do it and stuff. And I remember seeing it, and I was like, the hell is this? So you play as a pedal? This is stupid. And then I remember like playing it and being like, this is amazing. Same thing with Ernie. The same thing with Monument Valley or something like that. There's a couple of games that I've seen that have been like, I don't know what this is. And I mean, it turns out to be like, okay, this is really cool. Like I said, Stray was one of them. Then I'm about to pull it up over here. Season, where you play as the black chick walking around like with a notebook and you taking photos. And I have no idea what the game is about, but it looks cool. It looks different. I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy it as soon as I just want to know what it is. I'm interested to see more. And I think if your trailer makes somebody say, I have no idea what it is, but I want it. Like, can you tell me more so I can go buy it? Or maybe you tell me too much and I'm like, I don't want that. Like definitely Final Fantasy and Street Fighter 6 were a big splash. And I mean, Street Fighter 6 isn't going to be exclusive, but Capcom was nice to like, oh, we'll start the show off with this. I think Resident Evil 4, the remake, is going to be exclusive to PlayStation.
That's because it's a VR remake. It's not like the game itself is the same as it is, and it already exists on other systems. But
and I'll say
reality platform.
And I'll say this about a lot of the VR offerings that State of Play was offering. Those look ridiculous too. I mean, just
Horizon Call of the Mountain.
Yes, that looks. I mean, that's something.
I played it.
Yeah, that's something that I've never played, the Horizon series. And that's something that I looked at and it's like, okay, I definitely want to try that out.
Yeah. See, and I think that's the thing, because like, that's sort of my thing, like Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, like those type of games are what I like to play. Like, if I can get on a game and not be called the N-word by some random kid in Kentucky while he's trying to shoot me, I am fine. You know what I'm saying? I can pick it up. I can play it when I want to. And I can get immersed in a story and I can be the guy and do the thing. I'm good. Like, I can play Call of Duty all day, but the rare time that I have some off time and I'm by myself and I get to play a single player experience, like a God of War, like a Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon, which Horizon was really, really good in the way that I still haven't played the new one, because I still have Deathloop is sitting over there still in the wrapping that I bought back on Black Friday and I haven't opened it yet. So sad clown noises. But I definitely am interested in playing a lot of these games that I'm going to pick it up and play it and see how it is and that type of thing. Like No Man's Sky, I remember playing it when it was like first out, and it was not great. And I know they've done a lot of work, and it's like No Man's Sky 2 basically at this point. And there's a VR version of it, so that's pretty cool. Will I buy the PlayStation VR? Maybe. Like honestly, for me, like, and I'm cheap. Like you can easily get me. You can just say, hey, remember that really cool game Zone of the Enders? That Konami made on PlayStation 2. We're doing a remake of it. It's the same game, except it's in 4K now, and you're in the cockpit of the thing in VR. Sold.
I mean, that's kind of how. Yeah, I feel you. That's kind of how I feel like my old college football and college basketball franchises. If for and EA, as a side note, EA, y'all dragging y'all damn feet. Y'all need to go ahead and get this shit going. Seriously. I mean, they've established it's coming back. The NILs deals and stuff are in place. Do your thing, please. You have an audience waiting. Okay, now that that's out the way.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like
I feel
some
you,
of these
man.
other ones though, like Eternites, a dating action game set in the apocalypse. I'm not sure about that. Like I don't even know. Like I don't understand. Like I don't know what you're trying to do with that. But I mean, the way that the quick blurb that they gave about it, that they described, I mean, it looks cool. It's like basically an anime that you're playing in. It looked really cool. And then the skater roller drone, where it was like a shooter, but you're on skates.
Yeah, that looks like it has some potential. I mean, I mean, at first,
skate-based shooter with a very crisp art style.
Yeah. And the 70s name, Rollerdrome. It's like, okay, that's piquing some interest here.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, before we transition to our next segment, we're going to have a little ad break on behalf of our our network overlords at HBCU Digital. So you could stand by, and we will be right back.
Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started. Are you kidding me? Unreal!
While our HBCUs are mostly known for academic rigor, community, they also know how to turn up.
Does he have it? Yes, he does! And that might be the knockout punch.
And we are back.
Obama, I see him.
Oh man, yeah. This next topic we're going to talk about is it's pretty serious, pretty deep, pretty dark. It's about what's been going on the last 2 weeks or so in terms of guns and folks getting shot up at various places, and the fact that people, don't have common sense enough to understand that what we're seeing is simply the byproduct of a bigger problem. And needless to say, before I get started, I've got the disclaimers, banners set up for just about everybody here. So because I know my boy Dom is going to go in, so I got the trigger figure set up for that. Same thing with me. And Roberto, I'm probably going to be typing yours up as we go.
Oh, yeah.
So, but
like disregard everything Roberto says.
Yeah, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Obviously, what's happened in Uvalde and in Buffalo, as well as the numerous other places that's happened, where mass shootings have happened in the last 2 weeks. It's pretty scary stuff, and it's scary in the sense that this isn't new. This is a problem that's been multiple decades in the making, and there are multiple layers to this issue. It's not for those people that are watching on our podcast on the stream that have political inclinations either way, this is not that. This ain't. This is really more so common sense types of things that people that are making policy have ignored. It's pretty simple. You got what happened in Uvalde with kids and what we're hearing now in terms of what's coming out about the police and their reaction. And I gotta be honest with you. And before I start, I'm going to put the banner on for myself because folks that are going to hear this ain't going to like it. So where's my banner? Let's see. The views of Herb Seward. There we go. The views of Herb Seward are not necessarily the views of TDT or the HBCU Digital Network. Now that that's out of the way, what happened in Buffalo was some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in Uvalde was some bullshit. And
Tulsa.
Yeah, and Tulsa. Yeah, sorry.
Can't keep track of them.
Can't keep track of them. All of this is some bullshit. It's some bullshit to the highest order. Primarily because people, I hear that, Dom. That's why the disclaimer's up and it's running. And it's going to be running while I'm talking.
I said it's probably one happening right now. And then y'all didn't react. I was like,
yeah, exactly. I heard you that, that's coming to your disclaimer time. So, but yeah, the fact of the matter is that there's so many things that are that are exasperating the gun culture problem in this country. Some of the underlying factors of race, class, just all sorts of things that we've never really addressed in this country, at least adequately, on an individual level. And then you add into the mix, folks that are more concerned with the fact that, okay, I want to get, this drum mag of 350 rounds, for my joint, as opposed to, access to it, for the kid that might be mentally disturbed, or the dude that might have a backache and is pissed off, to go into somebody's doctor's office and say, look, you didn't do this right, you're going to die for it. It's scary stuff. It's scary stuff. And what's even scarier is that the people that make policy that could stop this, or rather not stop it, but curtail it, or do something to levy consequences against folks that facilitate this as a business. They don't care. And it's sobering, because as a parent, and all of us are parents on this panel, as a parent, you think about school, and you think about, I know I got a 10-year-old, my 10-year, the day it happened in Uvalde and Buffalo, first thing that hit my mind was Sandy Hook. And it was just, wow. Or Charleston, or any number of things that have happened in the last decade, where, some milksop that doesn't have any social bearing and gets pissed off can get a gun and do stuff like this. It's hard to fathom. I know it's coming, but I need to get y'all thoughts. So
you or me, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna flip this imaginary coin.
Look, who you got ready first? Who's Dom,
I got your keynote banner ready first. I'm gonna let you go. Banner up. Go ahead, do it.
So, it's to the point, and I probably said this before, because we've talked about mass shootings before, because they happen all the time. It's to the point where all I can do is hope that it won't affect my children, my family, my loved ones, right? My friends, their family, their love. I can just hope that it doesn't touch me directly in a way like that. But the idea that they won't happen anymore, fallacy. It's silly to even imagine that there's a world that exists that this doesn't happen again, probably within the next 3 to 7 days, right? And we've had, I think this is the 155th day of the year, some crazy mess like that, and we've had like 230 mass shootings.
Crazy.
We don't even hear about half of them.
We only hear about the one. Like that, there's I can't take credit for this. John Lovett, the host of one of the hosts of the Pod Save America franchise, was talking about this when he was just trying to unload. He was trying to unpack his thoughts. We only seem to care about this when it's a lot of people happening at one time, but we neglect a kid is getting shot several times a day. 20 kids die a day from guns, no matter, like it's not just because they don't all happen in the same room. We should be mad. We are not mad. And how I know we're not mad is I knew that Uvalde wasn't going to move any needles, because those were brown kids. Exactly. And if you could look at those sweet, angelic, cherubic white children at Sandy Hook get murdered, and they didn't even act like they cared.
Nope.
So when that happened, I said, oh, well, they definitely don't care about my black ass. So we just gotta understand that as long as we continue to live in America, we continue to live in a place where this thing can just happen. I hope that y'all, like I, are taking full advantage of your Second Amendment rights. And I'm not saying that, listen, Buddy had armor on. Like, I probably would have died trying to save my family. But I'm not just gonna be holding a can of a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch up in front of me at the grocery store. I will have that thing on me. I keep the thing on me, and it's because at any given time, some crazy white boy from I live in the South. You live in Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. At any given time, now this happened in Buffalo, so I guess you're not really safe anywhere. But any given time, some white boy that's just had a bad day could just go drop $500 on these things. Aren't even expensive. I mean, $500 is not cheap, but $500 is just one paycheck from Taco Bell. You just go get a shift at Taco Bell, work a couple weeks, let that build your hatred up for more darkies, and then go take your first check, go to the gun store, buy the gun, get the gun the same day. Get the gun, get all the bullets that you need. 500 bullets. What you get? About 300 bodies off 500 bullets, right? You can tell the dude that. What you think you get? About 300 bodies off this? Yeah, man, you get about 300 bodies off that. Cool. Thank you. Run that. Hey, can I get my change? Keep the change. I won't need it. And just go to the local wherever. Start letting them off. Mm-hmm. So it's to the point where it's like it doesn't even really move me anymore. It's sad. I hate that I'm numb to it, but I am. It's gonna keep happening. So like, why does it doesn't even make sense for me to like pour my heart out, thoughts and prayers, whatever goofy shit, like whatever. Like y'all do whatever it makes y'all feel better to do when this happens. But let's just go ahead and wrap our minds around protecting our family, about protecting our friends, around protecting our loved ones. And I promise you, if you really want to see, this is another thing that's not my. I didn't say this. Dave Chappelle said it. But if you really want to see gun laws changed, Black people are the answer. And it's unfortunate that we have to do this. But I promise you, let it be 50% registered Black folks with guns registered with automatic weapons. I guarantee laws will get changed quick. Mm-hmm. Every other Black person buy an AR. Laws gonna hey guys, what do you need those for? Come on, it's crazy.
Going to the Snoop Dogg concert and let some bullets off in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, before our boy Roberto gets started, and I get to put his banner up that I just typed up, but I just want to get y'all opinions on the presser that we saw immediately after Uvalde. You know, this, and I get it. It's the state of Texas, and for our folks that are, you know, watchers and followers of the podcast that live in the state of Texas, I mean. I feel you. I'm not.
My man said it could have been worse. That was what he said out of his mouth. The governor. It could have been worse. It could have been worse than 19 kids in the face. Some of those kids were so mutilated that their parents had to submit DNA samples. They couldn't identify the children at the scene. They couldn't identify the children. They had to submit DNA samples to have it tested against the bodies. Because you know what I mean. Like it could have been worse. Could it?
Yeah, I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been his kid. That's the only way it could have been worse. Yeah. That's the only he used things like.
But I bet it couldn't have been. I bet it could have been
worse. He could have went to a private school and shot somebody.
It could have been his kid that did the school shooting. That probably could have happened. But I mean,
it's crazy that you could watch that presser and just kind of run down a litany list of dog whistle types of things that were being said. I mean, I think he dropped the inevitable comparison of Chicago, and this happens in Chicago all the time, during the presser. And
Chicago would stop it for a couple days just to get them to stop being able to use that stupid shit as an excuse to let guns still be prolific. Because Chicago did its part to stop gun violence, but guess who didn't? The state that's literally
right next door.
A short drive. It ain't even a long drive to Indiana. It's 45 minutes from Chicago to get to a place where you can buy a gun and just drive it right back over the state line. There's no crime. It's not even illegal to do that. So,
And like I said, it's it's something that, it's mind-boggling, and like I said, I think Roberto is probably going to bring this home in a way that, only our Morehouse graduate can do. So I'm going to go ahead and put his banner up, and I'm going to let you go.
Look, man, I'm laughing because there's so many curse words floating around in my head and I'm trying to use as few of them as possible, because I honestly I don't want to hear it. Like, America can kiss my ass when it comes to all these like hang ringing and all this, like these people in here clutching their pearls every time something like this happens, and then nothing comes of it. Like, you remember when them goofy people were in the Capitol taking a knee with kente cloth scarves on and shit?
Nancy Pelosi leading them.
What happened? What happened since then?
Zilch.
And every time something like this happens, like, and I hate to say it, like, my wife literally is like, "Oh my God, bro, did you hear about the school shooting?" And I'm like, "Which one?" And she's like, "Well, how did you not read the news?" I'm like, "For what?" I'm like, "I hear some school got shot up. I checked to see if it's my kid's schools. It's not." And I'm like, "Okay,
put the phone down."
All right. So now what happened? Explain, like, what kid was angry? Who did what? Like, who got bullied, or was it just a supremacist? Like, what's the same old story this time? Like, every shooting, it's somebody with a bad attitude with quick access to a gun. And as a gun owner, I am not one of those people that's going to be like, we should just abolish guns, like get Wanda Maximoff to say no more guns, and then all the problems go away. Because again, if you really think about it, our entire foundation of this entire country was built on shooting a nigga and taking his stuff. They did it to the Indians. They did it in West Africa. They kept doing it to black people. They were going to keep doing it. This whole country was built on violence. They did it in Seneca Park. They did it down here in haunted ass Lake Lanier. Like, it happens, and it's going to keep happening. You can't keep thinking that, like, and for my Republican friends, that every time I'm like, man, this is crazy, and they're like, well, what do you want to do? What do you want? Do you want to take her guns? What do you want to? Nigga, you ain't elect me, so why you asking me? I don't know. That's like, oh, Roberto, what are we gonna do about the ozone layer? Nigga, I don't know. I didn't go to school for ozone layer stuff. I have an English degree, okay? I can't tell you nothing but the proper preposition to add at the end of a sentence. That's all I can help you with. I cannot tell you how to end gun violence. I can't tell you how to stop rape culture. I can't tell you how to. I mean, the easy way to stop rape culture would easily, first thing would be to hold your kids accountable and stop saying boys will be boys. Stop teaching your daughters to be afraid of your sons, and teaching your sons that they can do what they want. That would be the first step in stopping it. The second step is stop letting it, because I'm what I guess the proper term of it is neurodivergent. So, like, I have anxiety and ADHD, and every time something happens, they're like, well, it's just a mentally disturbed. I was like, nah. Like, my baby mama has been annoying me for 10 years now, and I ain't never thought to myself to pick up a gun. And I'm crazy, according to my therapist. Well, no, she doesn't like me using that term. But never have I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to use my gun. I have a gun, and people cut me off. I drive in Atlanta all the time, every day.
Atlanta.
Oh, no, Atlanta was. No, I will say this. Atlanta was the first time I actually considered just shooting somebody in traffic. I literally I said, let me just keep living. I don't want to just have to.
Yeah, I make sure mine's next to me in an accessible place, because I don't know if you're just driving and somebody tries to get over and you're like, not today, pal. I gotta go take a poop. I'm in a rush, and then you don't let them over, and then they try to shoot you. I don't know what may happen. But all I know is that I've never been to the point, as many crappy places I've worked at, to ever go in there and be like, you know what? I'm going to shoot this whole thing up. There's been Klan rallies at Stone Mountain, and not one time has a Negro decided the world would be a lot better place if I could just take this gun up there and just mow down a couple of these horrid people. And objectively horrible people. I don't know where else you would think to find a worse collection of semi-humans that deserve to get snuffed out than at a Klan rally in the middle of summer at Stone Mountain in Georgia, where if you don't know anything about Stone Mountain, Georgia, 90% of the population of Stone Mountain, Georgia has English as a second language. Like, that's the most vibrant collection of African and Caribbean people and Latino people I've ever seen in the whole metro area. So it's crazy to me. I'm like, y'all really still think y'all own this over here? There's a fantastic black strip club right down the street. I'm sure. Have you seen P Valley before? Why don't you take that hood off and go down there and get you You'll learn something. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to Strokers, get your mind changed.
And
all I'm saying is that I feel like we always are like, oh man, like Columbine happened a long ass time ago. Sandy Hook happened December of 2012. Like, my kid was 1 when that happened. And I remember being like, yeah, I can't put him in daycare no more. And you can't think that because I remember when the Batman got shot up. And every time we went to go see Doctor Strange, my wife was like, should we bring our guns? And I'm like, I don't think we can bring our guns into the movie theater. What? Doctor Strange. Now, I mean, I can completely understand.
My boy. If the sign ain't posted.
Yeah, I'm like, I've definitely been in a mall before and been like, ooh, go put my gun up because I forgot I can't bring it in here. But like, I don't know if it's that we're too comfortable with guns because, the argument is always, well, if everyone had a gun, no one would try to go in there and you ever seen a mass shooting happen at a military base? I'm like, you know how hard it is to get on the military base in the first place? I mean, of course, y'all know, but like, you know how hard it is to even get close to one? Like, you can't just walk up on a military base and you shouldn't be able to walk on a school and just do what you want. You shouldn't be able to walk up to a park.
The security feel like jails either, though.
No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. And I don't know if there was a video I saw yesterday. This guy proposed to his, well, I guess now his fiance, proposed to this woman taking a knee at Disney on top of a stage in front of the Magic Kingdom, and in front of the castle, and somebody was filming it, and a dude with little Mickey Mouse ears ran up on stage and grabbed the ring out of his hand and was like, nope. And I'm like, damn, they got better security than the schools got.
Yeah.
The man just wanted to propose, and they were like, he didn't ask permission or pay a fee or pay the mouse to take a picture of him proposing. And so money, to sum it up, let's get back to that. I mean, money for sure. The NRA and all these other people that are lobbying and getting money and putting politicians in seats. I mean, the moment we take money out of politics, I'm sure we'd have a lot less politicians, but we would have more honest politicians, and we would have more policy that actually worked for the people that it's supposed to work for. But it's not happening no time soon. And all these 70-something-year-old farts that are in Washington that are up there just like, well, I can't believe it. I'll go say a couple of prayers at the but I wish I could do something.
Yeah.
You're the minister of guns. What do you mean you can't do anything? Like, yeah, I know it's just a title, but I wish I could change something.
Yeah.
Like, you're the president. If you wanted to, but midterms are coming and I don't want to.
And there's the operative word, midterms, and I think, before we ultimately segue into our next segment, I want to put this in perspective. And there's going to be a tech tie into this, tech and gaming tie into what I'm about to say. We talked about, how toxic, before how toxic the environment is in some of our gaming environments, particularly for Call of Duty and things of that nature. Yeah. But whenever something real like this happens, it's the first scapegoat. It's the first. I mean, I've heard so many people talk about, well, violent video games may be the root cause of all of this happening. And it's like, dude, you realize how many people
stopped.
They said that during Columbine.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you have any idea how many, billions and billions of dollars that have been made off of violent video games, and you don't have an epidemic of people going out and trying to commit fatalities in Mortal Kombat or
somebody is a comedian talking about. He said, "I've been playing Madden for 20 years, man. I ain't never had the urge after getting done playing Madden to go take a snap.
Yeah, go take a snap. To go hit stick somebody on the side on casual.
Get done playing Stardew Valley. Which you want to go plant some crops?
Yeah. I mean,
like that ain't happened.
Why is it only guns?
A couple of times I've played Ghost of Tsushima and I've been like, how much is a sword?
I'm good.
And could I? Nah, I can't even. First of all, I can't afford the sword. And then I could walk around with a rifle in Georgia. Nobody wouldn't say nothing.
You can't walk around with a katana. Sword.
Yeah.
Get that nigga with that sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, again, it's sad, but it's one of those things where, the answer has always been there, and that answer
we have scientific, factual evidence to prove what stopping this requires. It as soon in every other country, mass shooting happens within a month, things change, it goes down. It's not even like a maybe thing. It's kind of like the coronavirus vaccine. It's like there's no argument here that this is helping. I'm not saying it's curing it, because gun violence still does happen in other countries. Even countries where guns are completely banned, still some people find their way to get guns, and gun violence happens. But much less, nobody deals with weekly mass shootings other than America. I mean, I'm talking about third world countries. I'm talking in the Middle East where there's rebel rule, and they're under what is it called, Sharia law. They're not.
That's your cousin Sharia.
Where's that banner again? I got to put.
They're not dealing with gun fatalities at the rate that we are in this country, in this free land of the free, home of the brave. Free. Like it's like we accept government intervention on all of these things. We accept that they require us to have a license to drive. That's not freedom. We accept they require that you have a medical license to practice medicine. And if you practice medicine without a medical license, somebody gets hurt, you go into jail for attempted homicide, right? Even if you think you could really good. I watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy. I feel like I could do an appendectomy off the strength. You know what I'm saying? Like, I push one of epi. I got this, right? But if I do it and that person doesn't, even if the person survives, if anybody else finds out that I did it, I'm going to jail, right? Yeah. So we accept that. We accept pilots' licenses. We accept hunting licenses. We accept everything. But no, gun access needs to be an unfettered, uncontrolled, wild west. And not only if you said you don't have to have anything to get a pistol, right? Fine. Anybody that wants a 9mm or smaller, right? If you want a Derringer, a little 22, as soon as you hit 18, you can get a 9mm or smaller. Fine. I'm not saying you can't kill nobody with a 9. I'm saying you can't kill a lot of people with a 9. I'll run up on you with a 9. I feel like I can eat 2 or 3 9s, as long as you don't shoot me in the face, right? And so that was the case, then fine, right? It's an ouchie, right? 50 got shot 9 times. You know, it's an ouchie. I'm about to beat the brain. Stop. Come on, quit playing, right? But it's like, if that was the thing, fine. But they're saying no. I got white, and I call them friends. I got white homies that say if they want access to a grenade launcher, nobody should be in the way. Like, yes, you should be able to have a grenade launcher if you want to. And I'm like, it's just like one dude can just have a bad day and just end 15, 20, 30, 40 lives. And
or you can shoot it at a train or shoot it at a bus. And, shoot
it at a water treatment facility. Shoot it at the power substation. Knock out power for the whole. You can end so many lives.
Yeah. Well, before we really finish on some lighter topic, we have another ad break. Again, ordered by our HBCU digital overlords. We will be right back. And we are back. Big shout out to Dr. Ashley Little and the folks that work on the HBCU Heritage Series for books that we just advertised. They're on sale at Amazon. Go out. They've got not just bands, but pretty much, they're increasing their stories about schools and everything else. I know North Carolina A&T is out there. Florida A&M's out there. I believe Morehouse is out there. Tennessee State. So, yeah, if you got the chance, go check it out. You have some of our panelists, shameless plug, that have been contributing authors. So, yeah, go check it out and, support HBCU culture, please. But now back to our show. And, just to kind of get, the vision of a lot of the stuff that we just talked about out of our minds, we're going to finish the show on something really, really, really fun and interesting. And that is, stuff that we've been watching on TV, stuff that we've been, kind of ingesting. And I know this is really kind of cliche and it's, just normal stuff, but there's a lot of dope stuff out there right now in terms of stuff that we've been watching. Me personally, I'm back in the middle of my annual 20th anniversary Wire marathon. In other words, AKA the price of, be more the price of the brick going up. I'm in the middle of that. And I watched David Simon's follow-up to that on HBO Max called We Run the City. And this is a story about the gun task force.
Did you say that's a follow-up to The Wire? Like, is it related to The Wire?
Not related. It's about a true story. It's essentially about the gun task force in Baltimore.
Yeah.
But the same guy that produced The Wire produced this.
I see why you call it. Yeah. I was just because I was like, I didn't think that. I thought The Wire was fictional, and this was based on a true story. There's a couple of like Hollywood licenses taken in this. They created some characters that didn't exist, but for the most part, this is a real story with real people that you can Google, and I did, that are still in jail.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll be honest with you. First thing that kind of stuck out to that series for me was seeing Marlo Stansfield as a cop. Even though the guy Jamie Hector, the guy that plays Marlo Stanfield, plays the part of Sean Suter, who was a cop in Baltimore that unfortunately I think it's been determined that he killed himself over this whole thing. But I think the really crazy thing about the series for me, after watching stuff like The Wire, and being a real fan of The Wire for as long as I have, is that, art imitates life and vice versa, because there's a lot of that stuff that was implied in The Wire in terms of how kind of David Simon set up season after season for The Wire, and some of the pressures that police officers had in terms of meeting numbers and really not taking the job seriously. And the fact that he followed this up about, with this true op-ed about, the Baltimore Gun Task Force, that was the focus of a, federal investigation. We got, corrupt cops that were just knocking people upside the head on traffic stops and taking money out their pockets. It's wild stuff, and it's something that, I got a great deal of interest, watching David Simon back at work. If my boy David was on the podcast, by the way, shout out to Dave and Leslie. Leslie, get some sleep, get better. We want to see you back on the Pop Cut podcast. Feel better. There's a lot of sci-fi stuff that's out there that's catching my eye. But I want to hear from you guys first in terms of, what y'all got on the remote. On stream.
Let me think. What have I been watching?
So I've been watching. The boys just came back.
Don't watch that with your children.
No, definitely don't watch that with your children. Don't watch it with your girl, probably, because it's a lot.
Yeah, the first episode was a lot.
all of the episodes, bro. Like
Just
this dude, yo, this show is intense, bro. The head popping chick, when she did that to her homeboy, you could see the inside of my man's like it's like they have to go to a doctor to say, hey man, if I blew this part of your face off, what would it look like? Because it really did look like somebody, like you could see blood, like it's crazy. It's crazy. I did not realize it was episodic. I thought I could binge the whole series, otherwise I wouldn't have started. I don't like waiting for stuff to come out. But I didn't started watching it. I'm gonna go ahead and watch it. New episodes come out on Friday. The Boys is popping. There's a show I like adult content, like, and by adult I don't mean spicy content. I mean just stuff that's made for adults. I'm an adult. I like watching stuff made for adults.
God damn it! Where's that banner?
So, it's a show. It's an animated series called Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime. It is fire.
I'm still gonna put the banner up. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's all good. Listen, you can keep that rolling whenever I speak, because I ain't gonna lie. I'm never. I like it, it's gonna be a while. Listen, Coca-Cola gonna have to become a sponsor for me to get corporate. You know what I'm saying? They gonna have to send a lifetime supply of Coke to the house. Right? All right, now it's worth it. I'll tone it down a little bit. Actually, guns. The best way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, Coke's my house. But like, Vox Machina. So apparently it's just dudes. I really want to do. I wish I could go back 15 years in the past with the internet still, like with the internet being here, where you could find your tribe. Because I think this would be dope for Black people to get together and do voice acting over like a tabletop game. Because that's all it was. And these dudes they did it as a hobby and it just got popping. They recorded it to YouTube. I think it would be way doper with Black dudes. Or Black people, I should say, because we lit, right? Like you ever watch T Money on Facebook? He does like a Memphis version of like a movie like Django or whatever. Like it's just we lit. So I would love to get into that. It's just like, we adult, we grown Black men. When you go find other brothers to come to your house and do tabletop games, we don't do that kind of stuff. We just don't. We should. I wish we did. I would love to have somebody, a group of 5 or 6 people come to the house and us try to do that. Replicate that success, because it's really awesome, man. Vox Machina is another show. Ozarks just finished. It was fire. We ain't gonna talk about it. No spoilers. Doctor Strange. I done seen that 4 times already. Yeah. So what about you?
You got money.
I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I'll slide Maverick in there too as a Navy guy, as a former Navy guy. I mean, as cheesy as it sounds, because the original Top Gun was cheesy as hell, but it's still a dope movie.
It was the 80s.
Yeah, it's 80s movie. And the fact that they tied up all the nice little loose ends, turned Maverick into this, dysfunctional ass malcontent in the movie. That had to, that was on his last rope, with all the authority figures in front of him, before they turned it into the feel good story during the course of the movie. I thought that was pretty dope. There were some things that were like pretty much plot armor, and I'm not going to put anything out because the movie's still fresh out, fresh out the pen, and fresh out the pen and fresh into the movie theater. So, I'm not going to. I'll just say that there's a lot of plot armor the further into the movie it goes. That's all I'll say. I mean, if you understand military hardware and you understand how, particularly aviation works, there's a lot of plot armor as the movie goes on. That's all I can really say. But yeah, it was a fun time, at the theater. I still haven't seen Doctor Strange yet. I'm going to. Yeah,
he's a wild boy.
I'm tripping. Yeah. I'm tripping.
I mean, it's about to come out on Disney Plus on the 22nd of June.
Oh shit. That's good. Yeah. So that means I can wait until then.
And you probably got all the little surprises spoiled for you and everything.
No, I've been on radio silence about as far as that goes. So, but yeah, I mean, there have been so many really good things. I mean, even the new Star Trek, I've been following that. The new Star Trek is dope.
I'm not even a Star Trek. I'm not even like a Trekkie. I like the new movies and I like certain series, but I wasn't like I didn't love Discovery. Mm-hmm. Even though I had a black chief and I wanted to, a black captain, I really wanted to.
Yeah.
But this new one with Pike, I ain't mad at it.
Oh, speaking of sisters, though, what about Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Oh man, look, I was just about to talk about it.
Oh, I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead, Go ahead, bro.
You know, I mean, as you can tell, you know, like I enjoy the Star Wars.
Palpatine.
And I'm very happy that Reva's getting this much attention, even though I don't like the fact it's bad attention. They're like, oh, she can't act, and they're like, and you're like, she's got like a bunch of awards for acting.
She's Ivy League trained, dude. Shut the hell up.
Yeah, she has like a crap ton of awards, but I think she's brilliant in it, and I think that I was on I can't think of the now. I know I'm always on their Instagram page, the Black Nerds. I'm always on their Instagram page, like talking to them, and they had a whole thing about it, and I'm like, it's very odd that people like her character isn't really realistic, and she's doing too much. She's a tryhard, and I said, a authoritative figure that stops at nothing, bribing people, kidnapping, murder, stops at nothing to either frame or apprehend somebody that she's pursuing, even if it means that she has to murder that person that she's trying to apprehend for a crime that she assumes that they commit just based on what type of person they are. Sounds like something I've heard of before. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want you to have to put the disclaimer back up. But
too late. Too late.
I mean, you know, hey, Inquisitor lives matters too, right? Like those, like okay. Anyway, I think she's brilliant in it. I think it's great. It's a good story so far. Only episode 3. It's good. I was folding clothes today and I watched some of The Boys. The first, I'm not even finished with the first episode of it. The first episode with the termite, I think it is. I just had to pause it and I was like, okay, so
bruh.
I messed up. I did the wrong thing by thinking that Young Justice Phantoms, like the 4th season, had already finished. So I was just like watching it and not paying attention. And I had caught up like 2 weeks ago. So I've been waiting like week by week to watch like 24 minutes of brilliance. That is the Young Justice series. If you are not watching or have not watched Young Justice seasons 1 through 4, it is animated and it's from DC, but it's animated. So, you know, because DC's very good at animated things. I don't know how they keep shitting the bed on all the
movies.
Shout out to Amber Heard. I don't know how they keep shitting the bed on all their live action stuff, but for whatever reason, watch her still be an Aquaman too. For whatever reason, they can't. Their animated stuff. Like I just went back and I'm rewatching Batman Beyond. But because we are here for our fellow Black people, and you know I love supporting Black people. Shout out first of all to King's Crown. It's a Black-owned hat company I'm wearing. The inside of it is satin lined, so it don't mess up your hair.
Hey.
So it's
Sweet.
pretty dope. See, like dad hat. They're not paying me for this, even though they should be. King's Crown, and you know y'all should pay me for it. Anyway,
shameless plug.
Yeah, y'all should pay me for it. Because I love supporting Black people and Black women in general, specifically. I'm watching P-Valley as a supportive watch. Because you know, down in the valley where the girls get naked, like how you not going to enjoy that? How
you not going to watch that?
It's good entertainment. Me and my wife watch it together. I know my wife probably be looking at me while I'm watching it because I'm like, I'm watching it for the acting.
I'm watching it for the articles.
and for those of you that just joined the podcast, the views of Roberto Joseph are not necessarily the views of TBT or the HBCU Digital Network.
But they are likely the views of me.
I'm sure that they would join me in supporting all these wonderful Black actresses who are fantastic at their craft. So that being said,
fantastic.
Good show. Don't watch that with your kids either. You know, have a talk. If you're a couple and you guys want to watch it together, tell both of them like, hey, look, we gonna watch the show together. I'm not objectifying anybody. I just, I'm wearing contacts. My eyesight bad, so I got to squint sometimes, and sometimes I got to lean in and look a little harder. That's all it is. Very good show, very well written. Surprisingly, way more depth than you would imagine. Like, it's a show about some chicks in Mississippi at a strip club. Like, how can this be? I'm like, how many seasons of Golden Girls did you watch about some old broad sitting around a house? And that was brilliant. Like, I love that show. So like,
you can watch what's going on in Chuckalisa.
Yeah. it's good stuff. And I'm trying to think of what else. So Young Justice, The Boys. I just finished something that made me upset. I think it was probably the Ozarks, because I was like, dang, that's all it is. We done. I ain't got no more of it. I'm watching Abbott Elementary, and if you're not watching Abbott Elementary,
is platinum.
If you ask somebody, here's how you know if you can be friends with a person. You ask that human being, you look them dead in their eyes, and you say, "Hey, human, do you watch Abbott Elementary?" They're either going to have two answers for you. Yes, it's effing fantastic, or no, I haven't heard of it. What is it? Those are only two acceptable answers. If they say, yeah, I watched a couple episodes, I'm not into it. If you are in an elevator, stop it and push them out of it, even if it's in between floors. Stop it and push them out of the elevator, because that's not the type of energy you need to be around. Abbott Elementary is brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yes, it's brilliant. I concur.
Brilliant.
It's really good stuff.
It's majority Black. It's created by a Black woman. Again, me supporting Black women.
Oh, he got money.
Quinta Brunson is hilarious.
Yeah.
She has been hilarious for a while. Like, every time I see her on any social, I'm like, I need to watch whatever she's in.
You know what I realized about Quinta Brunson? The first time I watched Dragon Ball Durag, the video, and I saw her in it, I was like, wow, that's her. Yeah. It's like, all right, I see you, Thundercat.
Shiny black man.
That's her.
Hey, Thundercat. What's up, brother?
Yeah. I'm still looking for that Vegeta gold piece that he had, by the way. That's
custom. That's him.
Yeah.
Also, he's a real nerd, because he was actually in The Mandalorian as a character.
Yes, he was.
Actually, no, he was in the book above it. The book of Boba Fett.
He was like that high tech
doctor.
Doctor,
like what Ripper docs are in Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, he's cybernetic dude, cybernetic tattoo dude. So
very cool guy.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
But if you have time to watch anything, watch whatever Quinta Brunson is doing. Even the Black Lady sketch comedy show that she was in.
Black Lady sketch show is good. That's another show.
Hilarious.
It's Black Lady sketch show's got one of them sketches. There's got some misses. I don't think we're the target audience. I won't call them misses. I would say it wasn't for me. But some of them joints, boy. What's her name? Dr. Orlienka, whatever. Ala Hassan, pre-PhD. Oh, she'd take me. See. Yeah, she'd kill me.
You're not the demo. Just like you're not the target demo. It's the same reason why I look sideways at grown men when they're like, "You like Megan Thee Stallion music? I don't like it. I don't like Doja Cat." Negro, she's not singing for you or rapping for you. That's not for you. Same reason why when my daughter brings Young Boy Never Broke Again or NBA Young Boy or whoever whatever kid to me, and I'm like, I don't like it, but I'm 37. I probably don't need to like it. I also not listening to smooth jazz exclusively, but I don't need to. There's some things that sometimes not for you.
Yeah,
Young Justice is for everybody.
Yeah, you don't want to be that. You don't. You never
such like delicate topic. I say delicate, such like
realistic
and just like very like they introduce these topics very poignant. That's a good word. Like Beach Boy is suffering from mental like
he's having PTSD and he's also
they integrate a lot of
depression, LGBTQ stuff. There's immigrant stuff. There's like imposter syndrome. There's so many like really good topics for a quote unquote kid.
Xenophobia is always present, because even with the alien planets they go to, they're like, Earthlings are here.
Yeah,
like, dang, bro, relax.
Yeah, but I think for the most part, I mean, there's a lot of good fare, and there's a lot of good fare out there for really wholesome, good stuff for people that are really looking for good television to watch. There's a lot of stuff out there.
It already had its first season, but I'm a big supporter of Black TV. There's a show called Grand Crew that came on
I think
CBS.
I've heard of that.
It's one of the best sitcoms. It's one of the best sitcoms. Black. It's blackity black, but it was on white TV. So it was like it let them peer into our world, but like it didn't like try to do them. Like it was very like they were very like it was like a Black Friends. Or Living Single, I guess. But like it was like more guys than girls instead of so it's like a male living single. That's probably a better way to say it. But it's a really good show. Grand Crew. Yeah. You can see it on Hulu. Really good. Also, The Bus Down on Peacock. Also, the Bel Air. Bel Air.
Oh, Bel Air is brilliant. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I want to go back and watch that again. I'm mad that it's over.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch it.
They got greenlit for the second season already, though. So,
a movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once or whatever it is.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, but
Michelle, with the joint with Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, that was good stuff.
That joint and dude from the Goonies, Data from the Goonies, is in it as her husband, and this is the first movie he's been in since the Goonies because he did not believe that an Asian American actor could be successful in Hollywood, and then he saw Crazy Rich Asians and he was like, I need to get back out there and do it. So for all y'all watching that don't believe that representation matters and you get mad every time a Black person exists in a show, or anytime you see two men kissing, you're like, Jesus, they're doing this woke crap. Representation is for everybody. Like people exist, man. Yeah. Like they're not just making up characters that don't exist. I mean, even though we are talking about Star Wars, where none of these characters are real, and not everybody in the Star Wars universe can be a white man, human, like it can't happen. So representation matters. So I can't remember his name, but I love Goonies, and Data was always my boy. He always could figure out anything. He always had on the little gadgets and stuff. Yeah. And that's probably where the obsession started for me with gadgets, was Data. And I'm going to pull up his real name while you do your thing.
Well, I think that's our cue. We have gotten to the end to another episode of the Black Techies podcast. And again, for everybody that's been following us, there's some new news that's come down the pike. We now have an official Discord. Go ahead and join us in our Facebook group, the Black Techie Collective, and you'll get exclusive insider access and information on how to join the Discord. That way you can, have a front row seat in terms of input on topics and all sorts of other stuff, cool stuff that we got planned. Thank you for HBCU Digital. Again, our new corporate overlords that have granted us this platform for our podcast. And a big shout out to pretty much everybody out there that follows the podcast and everybody out there that supports and loves and gives to HBCUs, because as you can see in the background of my joint, that's what this show is kind of all about. Black folks, technology, and HBCUs. So until next time, we're going to go and have another outro, and we will be on again for our second podcast of the month next Saturday. For myself, Roberto.
It's Kiyuquan. I found him.
Okay. For myself, Roberto Joseph, and Dominique Bass, hail Wakanda. Until next time.
Wakanda forever.
Peace out.
The first ever HBCU Band Anthology, The HBCU Experience. The HBCU Band Alumni Edition is a collection of stories written by prominent HBCU band alumni throughout the world. HBCU band alumni who are doing great things in their careers, businesses, and communities nationally and internationally. The authors share their stories and experiences of how being a HBCU band member has molded them into the people they are today. Purchase your copy today and support the HBCU experience.